And welcome. Yes, I didn't play the intro. How is everyone? Thank you for being here. Another live stream with Lorenzo. And we haven't said it for a while, by the way. Lorenzo does have a channel, TheNewNOW. So go across and check out his work there. He does upload, other things. And that's Sam the Rooster saying, time to wake up.
Yeah, we have a video Cambell and I did a few days ago, Inside Out, on this topic that we put up there, so you can check that out. I also want to announce quickly, we have an event coming up, October 6th, 7th, and 8th. There is a link on thenewagora.ca, and we'll leave it below here as well. If anybody has any questions or suggestions or wants to reach out to us on that, feel free to let us know below, and or ask Sam the Rooster to pass the message along. I'm
sure. I think he must be right outside my door. It's early morning here. Oh, not that early. It's 8 a.m. Hello to everyone in chat. Thank you all for being here. And of course, go check out my other channel, Spiral Up. I've actually started uploading again on it. I sort of haven't done much on it for the last 6 months, but I'm back in it. So, hello, everyone. I won't go through you all, but thank you for being here. We'll jump into it and then we'll say hello afterwards. So, Inside Out. The way out is in. The way in is out. Something like that.
Well, there's so many ways to look at this, everyone. It depends on what it is you're trying to get out from, where you're trying to go, what you mean by out. I would say out would be out of the matrix, out of the cave, out of whatever it is you're trying to escape from, out of a bad life into a good life, out of slavery into freedom, if you want to look at the ultimate out, as far as I'm concerned. So it is important, since you are the vehicle through which you travel from the inside out, that you understand your vehicle in great detail. And that's pretty much what I have found and mean by, if you don't go in, you go without, and that you lose what's required to be free, says the chicken of freedom over there waking everyone up.
Wake up. Yes, thank you, Sam. Yeah, I always, obviously everything's energy. You've probably heard me say this before. And the shape of our energy field is a torus. And the torus, as far as we know, is the base structure for everything. And what does a torus do? It goes from the inside out, and then from the outside in, and then from the inside out, and then from the outside in. And that's awesome. That's how it works, right? But the problem is, if we don't consider it when it's in, then we don't change it. Like we get information from the outside and take it in. Then we're supposed to ponder it and think about it, and it's supposed to affect our lives. But so often we don't really hear what's coming in. We don't pay it attention. We don't, look for the messages in there. And so what we put back out again is pretty much the same as what came in. And then we sit there and go, why does nothing change? It's because we didn't change it on the inside. So the way to change the outside is you got to change it.
Yeah, it's pretty much why always, it seems, the powers that be, the governments, the people that are fighting, are always saying, yeah, you froze there for a second, but you are back.
It was Sam.
So, the reason that there's always, it seems like to me, an agenda to keep you focused on the outside, right? Whether it's bad people over there or a bad country over here, or change the money, change the system, change the politicians, change your pants, change your sex, change your shoes, change your underwear, whatever, change. And they don't mind that you're fighting on the outside, because it's an intelligence behind things that probably understands that if you don't change yourself, nothing changes. And you have to understand how you're making your reality, how you're becoming who you are by your actions, your beliefs, your desires, your intent, your imagination, your intuition, all of these things. And if you don't change those, nothing is going to change. And on a more nefarious level, they slip in change, like changing your sex, or the 87 genders, or the 72 potentials, or lack therein, that they tell people is possible. And then you let that in without understanding it's sneaking in through media or friends or school. And then that becomes a reality. So I think the powers that be, or the monsters that be, understand that you make your reality from the inside out. So they try to sneaky get in, and they tell you, though, oh, no, don't go there. That's not important. Just put on some makeup and have $5 more in your pocket, and eat more vegetables, or eat less linguine, have a few bugs, and your life's going to be better. When, the bottom line really is, as we said, if you don't understand yourself, you really don't get to a new place, because you have to make yourself new. As Campbell said, for things to change, you've got to change.
Yeah, man. For things to change, things have to change. And the culture creation industry, culture, like the cult of I mean, was one of the first cities, they tell us, and it's a cult, right? We're all in a cult, so we're all trying to get out of that cult. But this is it. If we let the wrong stuff in, and it goes unchecked, then it will eventually affect us, because we will think that that's reality, and that reality just happens to us. There's another saying, just for something different. Stand every day at the gates of your mind. Well, stand guard every day at the door of your mind. Sorry, which means you've got to check what's going in. And this is the problem with things like TV and media, when people just sit there and all this stuff is just going into their head unchecked. But if you're conscious of it, then you're like, oh, okay, I don't agree with that, or I do agree with that, or oh my God, I'm watching TV, I better go and kick it in. But in the end, again, this is all about us taking back control of our power, and taking responsibility. Because once you understand that it's you affecting your reality, your experience, then you can't point the finger anywhere. Because if reality is a mirror, every time you point the finger, it's just pointing straight back at you, right? So how are you affecting your reality, I guess, is a good question. Everyone's like saying, I am affecting my reality, or all these kinds of things, but how? Like, do we stop and see, I did this action and got this result? Like, we don't think about results a lot. So you got to go.
If you look at everything in your life and you see how you're responsible for it, from the very first time you open your eyes in the morning to the time you go to sleep at night, and you watch carefully, Campbell made a good suggestion, and you see what's going into your mind. So if you read something, like I read something, in one of the Japanese newspapers, that the yen is going down, and that's great. It's like, because later it'll be good for the Bank of Japan because it's going higher, right? So, you see the double speak. So they're saying it's very, very low, but that's good because it'll be high eventually, right? And you're going like, it's obvious you can smell the bullshit of something like that coming through. But if you're not paying attention to what's being shared, you just take it as a given, right? You go, oh, that makes sense. Somebody told me that, so that's my truth now. But if you are always watching and discerning and figuring out for yourself what's working and what's not, as far as your conscious evolution goes, then you've already made yourself sacrosanct in that you choose the definitions of what goes in and what goes out. And then that's a great way to start, and to see that you're making your life through the power of sovereignty, as we mentioned before, meaning you are a being that's creating everything day to day, moment to moment. And from there, you can figure out how to take responsibility for all of it, and not just the little bits like the news that gets in, but, your destination. Where are you going? What does freedom mean to you? What does getting out of the cave mean to you? What does leaving the matrix mean to you? What does having a better life mean to you? These are all things that were given to us. And I don't know about anybody else listening here, but I found everything given to me was pretty much BS, like all of it. And I had to throw it all in the trash and build myself up from my toes on up to the fact that I'm still doing it every day, simply because you have to be aware constantly, consistently, and never ending if you want to be creative constantly, consistently, and never ending.
And sorry if I'm a little bit dark at the moment. I'm still in a tent. So I think I'm being taught I need to check what my intent is, right? It's intense, I tell you. There's messages everywhere. But obviously that'll be fixed soon. But what I wanted to mention as well is a big part of this inside out and outside in is, everything that you are, everything that your creation, your goodness, your inspiration, that's all inside of you. So we're actually here to get that out into the world, right? Like, to get out our message, to get out our love, to get out our joy, all this.
Oh, Campbell seems to have frozen. We're waiting for him to get out his message and his joy.
Sorry
again. Coming. You're back.
Sorry about this, guys, but yeah, if we're not who we truly are, then we're not changing the world in the right way. We're depriving it, right? I mean, literally, we're here. We're not just here randomly to walk along and keep all our, creations and inspirations inside us. We're here to share that. and that's how we teach, and that's how we learn, right, from other people doing the same thing. So that's, we've spoken, a lot about, it is, it's our fault and we need to take responsibility and all that. And that might sound a bit, boring, but the other side is, it's much more fun, to live your life and to get your expression out there. And when you do that, you connect up with people in the same energy. And that, I mean, to me, like I said, I think that's really the point of it all, right? We're down here to experience, and to, if we're not checking our thoughts and putting out what's inside of us, we're not having our experience. We're having someone else's, because it's created from stuff coming from the outside in. So, it's all inside you.
It's also like if you get a big sports car, let's say as an example, or a new toy, and you don't check all the bells and whistles and the potentials and the buttons and the gains and the functions and the reductions and all of those things, you might only end up using 1 or 2 channels of the 38 channels that are possible for, let's say, this new toy or TV or radio. But I have found us humans, us people, us beings are the same. We have potential that does not get shared to us from TV. We have potential that does not get passed along to us in the schooling. We have potential that most parents don't pass along because they're not aware of it themselves. And we have potential that maybe only Spirit, God, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever you want to call it, the all that is everything, can pass along to you. And so if you get to go inside, this is a huge way of looking. You go without and understand yourself, understand your potential, understand what your intuition does, understand what your imagination can do, understand what your guts can do, what's possible for you to create in dreams, and basically everything that has potential as a person born into this dream. Then that gives you options maybe that you may have missed, and again are certainly not passed along to you by the the ankle biters that be, because they don't want you to know that you don't need them. They don't want you to know that you don't need the system. They don't want you to know that you really don't need their money. You don't need anything. But going without yourself, well, that's something you can't go without, since you are who you are. Even if you go beyond that, then your consciousness is something that is really the gift that can be enhanced throughout your life if you know how to work with it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that, those who wish to control us, that's what they stole, right? The power, in all forms, but definitely the power of decision, right? That's what school is. It's to tell you, it's to take away your power of making decisions, and to tell you that the way to get ahead is to listen to someone in authority, right? One of the authors of the story. Listen to them, and then you can live out the life they want, and then you will give more power. You will to the ruler, right? To the rulers, right? The archons, whatever you want to call them, because you're literally giving your power away, and that's what they want, your power. And we hear this all the time, right? Take your power back, but what does that mean? Most people who say take your power back, they go and grab a sign and march down the street with another 1,000 people who aren't really sure what they're doing. It's an internal thing, right? You've got to make decisions yourself. That's really all it is. And we kind of harp on this. It's make your own decisions, and then be accountable for them. And that's we approach so many other things. I think of science, right? They do an experiment and they learn, okay, that worked or that didn't. Okay, we need to go this way if we want to go forward. I mean, that's really how we should be living our lives, right? This didn't work. Okay, cool. Glad for the experience. Learned something. I'm going this way now. And that's every decision. And if we make decisions like consciously, that's what we do. But if we don't, if we're walking along just sort of taking stuff in and reacting instead of acting, then we just go in this straight line, right? And then we turn around after 10 years and go, oh my God, how did I get here? What happened? I've ended up where everyone else is. Funny that, right? Because I believe the story that everyone else believed. I kept putting out the same stuff everyone else keeps putting out. So again, to change your outside reality, you've got to work on the inside reality.
And a couple of things I want to point out from some of the questions is, someone mentioned that they stole our consciousness during, the viral shenanigans, and no one steals anything, and that you give it away. It's like you sold it. They didn't steal it. I mean, I watched the media. I mentioned before there was garbage trucks going by here where I am, every 3 days talking about the viral shenanigans, and I would just laugh at them. I would go, who's taking, their medical advice from a garbage truck? And so they keep trying to steal it, but they're basically saying, are you ready to give it up yet? Are you ready to give it up yet? Maybe they ask you a million times a day if you watch TV or the media, or if you're living with a partner or a relationship or children or parents that are saying, "Are you giving up your responsibility to me yet? Are you giving up your responsibility? Are you? How about now? How about now? How about now?" And I feel you have to say no all the time. No, no, not now, not now. Oh, not now either, and also not now. And if you ask me sweetly, not sweetly. And if you demand it from me, no. And if you threaten me with my life, I don't care, etc., etc., etc. And also, someone mentioned an us versus them mentality is division. And again, that is such, if I may be a little maybe impolite, that's such a silly way to look at things. The only division is you and yourself, right? So you can look at everything. It doesn't really matter. You have to know your enemy. Know thy enemy. Know thyself. If you don't know what you're being challenged with, you've already lost the game. So to see how we're inundated, I guess unless you're living in a tent on a mountain and you're not even here listening to us because you probably don't have internet, and you're just by yourself. Campbell's waving there. It seems
That's
to be
me.
working.
Hello.
That's
Yes.
me.
No.
He's in a tent. He's in a tent on a mountain or in a field anyways right now. I mean, if you know what's challenging you, it's like, then you know how to beat it. And if you put your head in the sand and you pretend it's not there, it's still going to bite your ass because that by that same analogy, your ass is up in the air. And so maybe you don't see the monster coming, but you're going to feel it when it bites your cheeks. That's for sure.
Ouch. And I forgot to say thank you to Mish for joining my channel. Big shout out. And hello to everyone, 97 of you watching. Thank you all for being here. Everyone, put your hands together. Just drop back and let's conjure another. Let's get up to 100. And please give us a like. Yes. So the thing is, there is really only an inside. Like we're projecting the outside. So there, like Lorenzo said, if there's anything, it's inside you. So if there's any division, it's inside you. And of course, this is what's going on at the moment. Is they, had this big scare and all this stuff, and they take away, the rights, that they apparently give us, right? But I mean, again, we have to comply with that. And everyone was like, "You can't do this," and we've come through. It used to be us against the government, right? Division, and now it's us against the Trans Am people and against these other groups of people, right? And it's just more and more and more division. Like they're just giving us something else to focus on that's dividing us, so that we're not focusing on what's really going on inside of us. And by doing that, we're creating this story. So that again that's happening because people are following the outside narrative. There's so much of it. We're being bombarded with all this story, and people think that that's waking up. I'm awake because I watched, 10 YouTube videos on Karens and trans people in parades and all this kind of stuff. You're just taking in the narrative. You only need to see that stuff once and then you make a decision about it, right? And unless your decision's, this is awesome, I'm into it, then you're not going to watch it again. And that's how we change reality. And that's how you change your reality, because literally, if you stop watching it, it's now gone from your reality. It doesn't exist in your world anymore, right? Unless you might see it, you might hear a bit about it, but if you don't pay attention, it goes. So that's how we change reality, because it's all within us. And then when we do that, the outside reality will change because we're projecting it, we're creating it. Like, yeah. If a tree falls in the forest, there's no one to hear it. Does it make a noise? No, because no one's observing it.
Yeah, and someone asked if there's a more effective way to present this, and the most effective way to present this is for you to effectively know yourself. There's one thing that I have seen that is non-negotiable is you understanding you getting to know yourself, warts, ugliness, bad choices, bad past, bad history, all of it. I mean, even yesterday when I was sitting around, I remembered something that I had piano lessons for a week or so when I was 5 or 6 that I had forgotten about until my wife was humming a song. And I go, wait a minute, I know that song. I remember my aunt playing that on the piano. And I remember disliking it when I was 5 or 6, saying, that's way too sad for me. No, thank you. I think I'll stop playing the piano. And I forgot about that for 40 odd years, 50 odd years that I even played the piano until it came back to me. And then I had that memory of when I was a little boy. And, then now I know why when I've heard that song over the years, I get sad, or why when I hear that song, I want to go in the opposite direction. And I didn't understand that until just recently. So what I'm suggesting with that is this part of the recapitulation, which basically is a full, dirty, ugly, beautiful, complete review of your life to understand your belief system, your habits, what you took in, why you started some things, why you stopped some things, why you do some things, why you want to do some things, why you don't want to do other things. And then you may figure out, as I have, there really is no outside world for us, in that if it doesn't come in, it can't get out. Right? You have to allow in this desire for money, this desire to vote, this desire to get married and have children if you have that desire, this desire to leave your country, this desire to be free in the ways that you have figured it out for yourself, because they're your desires. Even if someone gave them to you, it was you that said, all right, I like what you're suggesting, Mr. Man in the suit or Mrs. Lady in high heels. I think I'll take that for myself now. And you either do that or you don't. You could say, when the oily salesman comes up and says, this is your reality, you can laugh, punch him in the nose, walk away, ignore it. Really, it's up to you, and go, no, I don't think you keep that. I think I'll go the other way and see what else, the world has to offer for me. I don't really believe, look in their eyes. Always look in the eyes of someone giving you advice, I would say. It tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you take too much advice, you might just be adding vices. Who knows, right? Interesting word. But yeah, this I was going to say something really profound, and I forgot what it was. But yeah, inside out, outside in. Oh yeah, I mean, quantum physics. They tell us unless there's an observer, then there's nothing there. Like, so we literally create, and when we see, we think we see outside of us, but it's actually all happening it's not inside in the energy field. It's not in the physical brain, but it's happening. It's just information, but it's all being processed and turned into something inside of us, and then we project it out. So it literally is a torus, a torus. I think you saw us, right? Whatever's inside us gets projected out. We get to react to that, but at the same time, we get to interact with the greater collective reality, right, of what everyone's creating. And everyone focuses on that. The way to change my life is to change the collective reality. And that's why we have people joining groups and pointing fingers and saying, don't do that, and it's his fault, it's her fault. But that's backwards. That's not how it works. I mean, look through history, and even all these people that are put up in front of us as like these amazing people that changed, history and all that. Martin Luther King, he got assassinated. He was a womanizer. We find out all these stories about who they really were. And even, this is obviously, accepting that the narrative was true, but people who try and change the outside world don't normally have happy, successful lives. And successful, I know people have issues with that word. It just means a fulfilling life, right? It doesn't have to mean, money success. But so the way to change is it goes back to these old, idioms. It's be the change you want to see. Change yourself, others will change. If you've got kids that are acting up or whatever, going off the rails, change yourself and see what happens. Stop telling them to change and that, because they will see and they will learn from who you are. So just yelling at people, at your children or whatever to change, all they're going to learn to do is yell at the outside world to change. So this really is a thing of going inside and deciding who we are. What do we want to do with all this information, and then putting it out so that creates the world that we want to live in.
Yeah, and I don't know about anybody else listening here, but I've seen myself as been wrong so much over the course of my life that it changes literally on a day-to-day basis, let alone year to year. So how can you know the advice you're giving anyone? It's such an egotistical perspective to put yourself on that pedestal, to think that you know better than anybody for any reason about anything. Like, how could you possibly know what anyone needs? Most people barely understand what they need. Like, what they need, what they need in their food, what they need in their life, what they need in their happiness. Like, I can bet, if I was a betting man, and I don't, because I always lose when I place those crazy monetary bets, but everyone is missing something about themselves. Everyone has something hidden that they would like to get better. Maybe you'd like your love to be better. Maybe you'd like your health to be better. Maybe you'd like your money to be better. Maybe you'd like your consciousness or your happiness. Probably, if everyone's honest, there's something inside themselves, that's not working. My arm could get better. Campbell's working on his hand. I'm sure everyone's got something that's not exactly 100% as far as they would like it to be, and not as anyone else. So that basically means you're not complete. You're not fully there. You're not fully full of everything that is the all of everything. So how could you possibly even take the risk or the chance of giving someone advice about anything? You're basically saying, I know better for you than you know for yourself. So you're trying to be the king of them, the boss of them, the politician of them. And I think this goes back to everyone's problems or everyone's challenges of the day, that, we're born into this hierarchy system of someone on top trying to tell you what to do or trying to change the rules. So you feel you need to do the same, right? It makes you feel better if you're going to tell your children, or if you're at work and if you're a boss and you're going to tell your underlings, or you have friends and you're the A male in the group, or you're the A boss female in the group, or whatever. For some reason, it makes you feel better because somehow you have the answers, so you know better. So it gives you some sort of feeling of superiority, which of course is an illusion, anyways. And really, I would say, look in that mirror if you think you need to give someone advice, and figure out for yourself what's going on in your life that you feel the need to tell someone else what to do.
Yeah. Very interesting. First, I was going to say, I'm surprised you didn't jump in. Someone said, is there any other way we can teach this? And yes, you'll find links below. We have a course. We have another course coming up in a few months, like a live one that Lorenzo mentioned. And we're also we also do coaching. So if you want any of that stuff, all the links are below. And plus, there's hundreds of videos now. So and this is, I guess, our style. But yes, there are options. And there are options. Now I've got to think of my you go.
And one thing I'm going to share, what Campbell's thinking is that we do not put ourselves up as teachers to know better for anyone about anything. Yeah. So everything we share, everything from our course to the event we have coming up to any of the love coaching I've done, is we can simply remind you to point back at yourself, to understand yourself, to figure it all out for yourself. You only help anybody. If anybody tells you they know better for you, I'd run away as fast as you possibly can. The only help anyone could possibly give anyone is for them to fully understand themselves, and then even to go beyond that, to understand what a self is. I would say, I like to take it even beyond that. What is the self? How can you go beyond the self? How did you make the self? This is something we're going to get into in our course. We're going to do a lot of exercises and practices and sitting around campfires and meditations that will give you that silence, if you decide to become silent, because you have to do it for yourself, to go beyond the self. What's going on when you're not thinking? How many people have spent some time peaceful? You take a long walk, let's say, or you climb up a mountain, or you get more exercise than you thought, and you're too tired to think. Or some people like drinking because it would stop them from thinking. I used to be that way. Or take other substances, which, whatever, I'm not going to, disparage anything. But why do you want to get to that place where you're not thinking, where you're just sitting in peace, where you're just going, nothing? What's coming when you become nothing besides everything? But what does that even mean? So all of this is really just pointing back to the most important person in the room, which is always you.
Yeah. I mean, I look at life as everyone's a teacher and everyone's a student. And if that's the way you look at it, you don't need to tell anyone anything. You just be yourself, right? And they'll learn. If they need to hear something from you, it'll come up in a conversation. And we're not here saying, "Oh my gosh, we know everything. Listen to us. Here's a 10-step plan. Do that, and it'll change your life." We learn just as much, if not more, from all of this, and that's really what we're doing. I guess it is just kind of documenting our journey. Because, it's a journey for everyone, right? We're all on different rungs of the ladder, so we can all, learn from each other. We've all got something that is of value to someone else, but we don't get to choose who that is, which is why we shouldn't run around telling people this will work for you and here's the answer and blah, 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 blah. All the, information we give out is to be considered, and that's it. They're I mean, if you've heard any of our stuff, it's all about questions and about asking yourself what you want, not, going within it and really finding what the essence is. It's not about listening or, taking a 10-step course or any of this stuff. So it's just all food for thought, as they used to say, right? And if it gels with you and you're getting something from it, then that's awesome. And if it doesn't, that's awesome as well. Both ways you've learned something, right? Like when we do things, we learn, I want to keep going in that direction, or no, I don't. And that's just right there. That is the power you have inside you. That's your superpower, choice, right? So too many people don't use that superpower, and what do? They yell change, change, change.
Yeah.
Like put it into the context of sitting in front of a television. Imagine a show came on, and instead of picking up the remote control, you just sat there and went change, 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 change. What do you think would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. The exact same thing as if you were out in the wider world going change, change. Nothing. Of course, nothing.
And Bob Ahern made a great point. Who cares what this place is? Care about who you are. Exactly. Because if you
Yes.
understand yourself, you get everything. Campbell and I did not choose to have this event in Florida, did not choose to be offered 48 beautiful, pristine acres with a fruit forest, did not choose to find a lovely person that's helping us out and is offered a pond, a swimming pool. Like, it's this beautiful area for us to have this event. This came from spirit, from the world, from love. That's it. Campbell and I said, wouldn't it be great if we had an event one day? And we both said, yeah, it'd be great if we got a chance to meet and share this. How are we going to do this? Who knows, right? I mean, the money involved in having to set up something like this would have been way out of our means if it wasn't for love currency. There's no doubt about it, right? But everybody has something beautiful and wonderful to share, and everyone has something extra. This fellow wanted to meet people like us. He has extra space where he is. He said, why don't you come do this? Campbell and I have extra time because we don't have regular jobs right now, so we can move and travel as we see fit. We've given up. Campbell's in a tent. I've been camping and moving for 30 years, for crying out loud, without having a base yet, which I'm hoping to get soon, simply because we wanted to allow ourselves the mobility and the freedom to move and to be where the world is asking us to go. So we had to give up security, maybe a regular paycheck, maybe the kind of relationship you have in the community if you're living. Yeah, Campbell's eyebrows are agreeing with that. The kind of security in a community where you get the safety, and give all that up so that we could float around a bit, so that we can allow spirit's winds to push us where it needs to push us. Like the dandelion, where the seeds got to blow till they go to where they need to go, like that wish on the wind. People says, grab it. It's a wish. So Campbell and I have become those wishes, let's say, to be grabbed by floating around and to see where the wind is going to blow us, so we can land and we can flower, and then we can share that flowering, which is you, by the way, and me, this time in the land of perpetual spring, in the land of the fountain of youth. Oh my goodness. One of the most beautiful places in the world, and without having to charge an exorbitant amount of money for it, because it was kind of love currency. So we get to share that, we get to give that, because it's been shared with us, because we've decided to let the world help us to a place we couldn't think about. Someone said feed your head, and that's nonsense, Mr. Dr. Bass Ackwards. You don't feed your head. You feed your creativity, you feed your heart, you feed your guts, you feed your intuition. The head's nonsense, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think we think in the head. He was just referring, I'm sure. And this is a thing, like, that's just physical, right? What's who we are is so much bigger and so much smaller than that, right? It's this, again, it's the Taurus. And I just want to say hello to everyone, 104 of you watching. Hello to all the mods. Thank you, as normal, for doing an awesome job. Hippie Shake, I think I saw Sherry in here before. Chris. To join now, how are you going on your way to Melbourne? And that's another thing. If you want to see me live, I'll be in Melbourne, July 8th. There are still a few tickets left. So I don't think I'll put the link below, but if not, go to my channel or tartariaaustralia.com and you'll find all that. Bob, Sue Spectacular, how you going? Mindy Lou, Dr. Ask Backwards. Oh, Sherry is still there. So hello to everyone. Sema as well. I think you're going to Melbourne. I'll see you there. So, that this is the thing. Like, we've, when I started making videos 3 years ago, 3.5, I think now, just randomly, my only intention was, wow, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before. I'm sure other people might find it interesting. And that was it. I didn't know where it would lead. I didn't know that, I'd end up here on a live stream with Lorenzo, and we'd be talking about me doing a live show in Melbourne. And then, we've got courses below, and we're doing a live weekend in a whole nother country, the USA. Like, I had no idea any of this was going to happen, but I had intention, that I wanted, to get out there and to share what I'd learned. And I wanted to do things. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be free. I didn't want to have a job, all this kind of stuff. And, and I did as much as I could through my life to affect that, I guess. I made choices, is what I did. I made conscious choices, and that's why my life changed. Like, I'm somewhere completely different now from where I was when I was 20 or 30 or 40. And you know, so many people, that doesn't happen, right? They start their life at 20, 25, and you meet them when they're 50 and nothing's changed. You know, they've just got a bit, you know, a few more furrows of worry on their brow, and you know, a few more pounds on their waistline. So again, this is how we change. You know, reality is we make decisions when things come to us, and if we see everyone and everything as a teacher, then this is the thing. We can make decisions and we can learn all the time. You know, but if we're not conscious, you know, consciously walking through life, we miss it all. We miss it all. And I just had a quote. I just heard a line from a movie, but I don't know what it was. But there's some movie, you know, and we hear it a lot, right? You know, if you don't stop and smell the roses, if you don't take time for you in your life, then what are you really doing? Like, I mean, seriously, what's the point of life? Is it to work and get a job and to do what other people tell us, and to think that we're, you know, less than other people and that our contribution is less valid? I mean, is that really it? Because you know that really is how most people live their lives. So you know, you've got to, you know, you've got to be brave as well, right? You've got to make a decision, and then you've got to be brave enough to believe that that is, and all it has to be, guys, is right for you. You don't have to prove anyone else wrong. You just have to do what's right for you. You know, and we so often think that what we do has to be approved by other people, by the bigger community, by, you know, our kids, our partners, our family, all the, and seeking that approval holds us in a box. So many people don't make decisions because what will people think? I can't quit my job and go traveling because my parents want me to be a lawyer and they'll think I'm a failure. Yeah, well, how about being, you know, a winner in your own life? Because every single time, if you do that and live your best life, your parents will go, oh, wow, look what they're doing now. You know, and they probably won't say we're wrong, but they will understand that you are now a successful person with a successful life. So this is it. You just need to satisfy yourself, prove yourself right. Don't worry about proving other people wrong.
Yeah. And if your parents don't, who cares? If your people
Okay.
you're with don't, who cares? If you need to
Find
find
new
new
people.
people, find new people. You know, and if anybody is missed anything that's got shared here, go to newagora.ca. All the information is up. There's a link to Cambell's event. There's a link to our event. There's a link to all other events. Join our e-blast, our newsletter. I send it out at least once a week. Campbell's event will be on the one I'm going to send out tomorrow as well. And so is our event and all the other things coming up. And you'll get it, you know, mailed directly to you or emailed directly to you every week, where we keep everyone appraised of what's going on, and we share the best of the articles and videos that we've come across and created ourselves, also on uagora.ca and on our e-list, and you can join that on the website. And something else I just want to say to consider, if I may, on the inside out, is what you put in also has to come out. You know, and you can look at that from the basest of ways. Whatever you eat, it's got to come out. I don't know about any of you, but when I used to drink or when I used to do party stuff when in my 20s, whatever you put in, you have to detox out. If you put anger in, it's got to come out. If you put bad shit in, you're lucky if it comes out, or else you carry it around the rest of your life, you know. Then you have to be like, but, you know, there's no free ride in that. You know, no matter what the government tells you about your eating or what you can do or what's healthy or what's not or what you should put in your body, whether you give yourself a jibby jab, if you put it in, it's either going to stay there till you're dead and then come out in different ways as you rot back to everything. But whatever goes in has to come out. So I would say be very, very, very careful about what you let in,
Mm.
because, you know,
Yeah.
because it's coming out one way or the other.
Yeah, mind food. This is the thing. We all see the physical again, right? But we think about what we're taking in mentally and how it really does affect. And we know that all disease is essentially created by our minds anyway, right? And cured. So it's not, you know, they make us focus again on the physical and what's coming in from the outside, when it's really, you know, how we transmute it. Or, you know, when we say no, saying no is just as important as saying yes, right? As long as it's coming from you, you know, and it's your decision. That's again, it's a decision. You got to decide if you want to change. You know, it might be too hard. You might not want to do it. You know, it's all up to you. Whatever you want to experience, you know.
Really, it all comes down to personal sovereignty, personal choice. I think Campbell's coming back. There you are,
I'm
Cambell.
coming back. I'm back. I know they're trying to censor me again, but there we go. So Inside Out, guys. And I will go after this, and I'll put the links below. So if you're watching this on replay and you want the links to our channels and all that the stuff we've mentioned, I'll put that below. Just again, Lorenzo's channel, The New Now. Type it into YouTube, go across and subscribe, and spiral up if you're not a subscriber. What are you doing?
What are
Jeez,
you
come
doing?
on.
So,
Jeez, come on.
we have a video, Inside Out, Cambell and I put up. We're going to put some more information up on our Practical Evolution for Life, the event. The link is below. And, what it really comes down to is you're always making choices. You're always letting stuff in. You're breathing. As long as you're alive, stuff's going in. You got to breathe. Air's coming in. As you got to eat, most people, food's going in. You're living with people, their information, their advice, even if they don't say anything, looks, everything. So you're always taking things in, whether, unless you're dead. Even if you're sitting in the dark, probably you're hearing sounds. If you're sleeping, dreams are coming in. The environment you're sleeping around is coming in. There's always stuff coming in. So it's really important, which is why I say to understand what's coming in so you can choose perhaps then what's going out.
Yes, and I'm back again. So there we go. All right, guys, thank you for spending some time with us. Please share this video around if you think that the information is helpful or interesting. And most importantly, make sure that, that your decisions are yours so that you can make sure that the life you live is yours. And go check us out on our other channels. We'll be back. Actually, we won't be back next Friday because next Saturday I'm doing a live event in Melbourne. But in 2 weeks on Friday, we will be back. And so have an amazing time. Hope to see some of you in Melbourne. And if not, we'll see you all back here in 2 weeks. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank you. Great one, Cambell. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. I love you all very much. Hope to see you all in Cambell's event, our event, any event or not. But either way, thank you for being aware of yourself. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being you. Catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.
This is it. Is this what we've been waiting for? Warrior dream again. Your destiny. Uphold